All right. Kindly excuse me for my lateness today. I don't know. You get a little older, you oversleep, you do all kinds of things. Anyway, I was supposed to be on at 3:30 p.m. today, and it's now 3:46 p.m. So it is what it is. I'm actually going to be recording this again, and I'll do it live from my Circle Grace One YouTube channel as well. So I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible at the same time. And whoever is joining in at the moment, thank you for your patience. This particular subject matter is connected to a brand new 8-week online course that I'm going to teach that is called Meeting Your Higher Self. So you might say I'm practicing. But for those of you that are tuning in, whether you know me or not, I feel like Fred Sanford here. Whether you know me or not, I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I've been a spiritual counselor for over 40 plus years. I've been a podcaster since 2006. I believe that's when I first opened up my YouTube channel here. And I've podcasted on every available platform. I've done audios with Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker, uh, Podbean. Those were some of the originals that I've done as audios. Also on the what is it, iPodcast system through Apple, which iTunes, all of that stuff. So I'm always on here looking to share what information that I have. I didn't have a chance to put this out in an email, just too much running around today. And as I say, as I get a little older, I don't feel like doing a lot, trying to chill out more. Today's topic is what's the difference between soul and higher self? Now, for a great deal of years, I would say in the past 20 years, people have merged the two as being one and the same. I think sometimes people do that, and it's okay. This is just my personal experience that the soul has its limitations, but the higher self doesn't. The soul has its limitations, but the higher self doesn't. Now, why would I say that? Well, what you have to consider is this, and I'm pulling this from a lot of notes that I have here. The soul is not your higher self. It is a part of the higher self, but on a lower level of energy, where the soul is actually collecting memories of life's experiences, lifetimes, life streams that can be experienced remotely by your higher self. Now, that's a mouthful, right? If you think of it in all of your metaphysical and spiritual teachings that you may have run across, everybody is striving for the first step, which is self realization. And your higher self is the end result of self realization, but is also the bridge to something more infinite than that. The soul, think of it this way, the soul is like the essence of what your chakras give off. In many of the yogic and Hindu philosophies, the seven chakras, the seven wheels of light, are the seven virtuous things, are the seven planes of heaven, the seven levels of divine consciousness. And so the chakras embedded within the nerve system, within the spine, which is called a sympathetic nerve system, one can have an experience of heaven on earth through one or more of those seven chakras in the body. The soul is sort of like an energetic template. Whenever you are having these experiences, and they are ongoing, they're continuous, they're recorded onto that energetic template known as your soul. And I might say that's a bit much too. I want to let you know I'm channeling this information directly from my higher self into this format. So, what we have to understand is that the soul is a part of the higher self, but it's not the higher self. It's an energetic template for the higher self to store all of its information every time it is experiencing something that's potent or omnipotent, something that has a presence, omnipresence within us. And every being upon this particular globe, traveling through the universe, is doing that. Every being that is alive and well in its own way, functioning in another part of the galaxy, is doing the same thing. It's just more pronounced here than in other local areas throughout the entire galaxy or the universe. We aren't the only ones having these experiences. You've probably have heard people say over and over, by the time we get the golden age and we get all the way through and there's no more trials and tribulations and wars and diseases and crimes and all these other things, we will finally come across 144,000 enlightened beings. Well, I might have to put a crack in that for you. You see, each being on this particular planetary system, hey there, Holly, each person on this particular planetary system has 143,999 other facets of itself. That means you are having an experience all over the place. And those experiences open themselves up as an internal library to you as you awaken to the different processional zones connected to your higher self. We might say it this way: the higher self is a miniature form of the God in you, and the soul is receiving all the experiences, not just physically in its remembrance, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So, all of these aspects are extensions of our true self. If you've read my book, my seventh book called Radiant Heart, I tell you in that book that the higher self is transcending all the time, not just ascending, transcending. That means it sees itself across infinite borders. It knows itself, therefore, is reaching out in all of these levels, all of these layers of life to experience itself or to have an experience. That's what people have been trying to tell us in the metaphysical world, what the God within you is doing. The God within you is having this extended experience called life. Why? Because each thought of the divine is infinite. So that means each thought that you have is infinite. It only appears to be limited when you're unaware of all the possibilities that you have to live and investigate and experience yourself on many different levels. Often we think of someone is thinking about me beyond relatives and family and friends or neighbors. When you come to think of it, sometimes you get a feeling of something else or someone else is connecting itself to you or is already connected to you. And so what you find is that you are experiencing life in different ways all the time. Even when you are so called sleeping or taking a nap, you're having an experience. Even though you're in deep, deep levels of meditation, you are having an experience, because what's beginning to happen is you are beginning to remember that you can review anything remotely. It's not just not concepts of military training, engineering type training. No, you can remotely experience life from wherever you are seated right now. And you do not have to be anywhere but where you are at. This is why we find this deep, deep rooted yearning for something beyond ourselves. When what we are yearning for is a greater understanding from ourselves and within ourselves. There are two levels of connections here that we are beginning to remember and beginning to experience and learn it at the same time. The two connections are what we call spirit, Spirit, and the other is divine source, spirit and divine source. And guess what is the bridge between the two? The higher self, not the soul, the higher self. So your soul is an extension of the higher self that records your life experiences. Energetically, it gathers all kinds of experiences within every life stream that you live in and that you remember. Your aura, as I said, is an accumulative extension of your chakras. The soul is symbolically the same. Within yourself, the chakras are doing the same thing. Your subconscious is doing the same thing. Subconscious mind is collecting data from you, but it's not separating what's higher or lower, what's good or bad, what's hot or cold, what's sunny or rainy. It's just gathering because it's data. That's what it does. So your higher self is that infinite part of you that's holding the divine blueprint. Yes, we all have a divine blueprint embedded in our cellular memory, way in our DNA, that I like to call, not from the scientific meaning, but I like to say that the DNA is your divine nature in action. And it's always moving, it's always seeing, it's always channeling, it's always receiving, it's always communicating with itself. How many of you remember when you were a child, you had the imaginary friend? An amazing thing about that is that, quote unquote, the imaginary friend, one of those imaginary friends, or many of those imaginary friends, was a part of your spirit guide essence. It means you had those who traveled with you through the ethers, awaited for your timely birth through your current mother and father, and have decided to enter this lifetime with you when you were a child. So anything that you were creating in your mind was actually connected to a greater source enveloping everything, and you're in the midst of it. So you as a child was having a whirlwind creative communication with divine beings, galactic beings, and other kinds of beings. Perhaps you might remember when your parents gave you toys, especially stuffed animals. They may have had a name that you gave them. That gave you a source of empowerment. You're just exploring life and having fun as a child. But this is so dramatically interesting because now here you are studying shamanism, you're studying metaphysics, you're studying spiritual life, or spirituality, you're studying alchemy, you're studying astrology, you're studying astronomy, palmistry, cardology, numerology, I Ching, all these things, prana, pranic energy, healing courses, Reiki. You're studying all these things because you have a remembrance about them. It's not anything new. It's something that has been on your mind, in your system for some time. And as it flows through your body energetically within what is called a fascia, you begin to remember. So there's no doubt in your mind as to who you truly are. And today's discourse is a brief one on that. Again, it's connected to my book, Radiant Heart, and it's connected to an online course that I'll be teaching starting on Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Mountain Time and 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, March the 25th. So if you have gotten that email, let me know. I sent it out, I believe, a week or two ago, but if you want it again, I could send it out to you again, where I give you some of the titles or all of the titles of the lessons, 8 lessons. If you're part of my spiritual family, spiritual circle, as a son or daughter, you'll get all of my courses that run for 8 weeks or 6 weeks or 13 weeks. You'll get them at whatever the flat rate is that I offer. So if you got that email, I suggest you should read it again and think about taking the course. It's called Meeting Your Higher Self. So that's what we're basically talking about today. There is a distinctive difference between what has we have been called as the soul and then the higher self. So sometimes when we refer to ourselves as being a soul, sister, soul, brother, we're I would say we're limiting ourselves because the soul only knows what it has experienced. The higher self has an experience that goes beyond the soul. So we might say the soul is like an energetic video camera, an energetic recorder. Hi there, Rose. And so what's going on is all of these different pieces of information. The soul is capturing it just like a video camera or a tape recorder. But that's all it can do. The soul sometimes, you may have remembered through some of your studies, the soul sometimes can get entrapped in the astral belt, which is lower vibrations, not really star energy vibration. The astral plane is that plane that sometimes has a lot of garbage in there, has false teachings in there, has bad habits in there, doesn't have any true light that you can really absorb, shift around, and change. You have to take a lot of time and energy to shift that energy that you find in the astral belt, the lower strata. Now, sometimes if you truly understand that the soul is an extension of the higher self, but it's not the higher self. An extension meaning the thoughts and feelings and sensitivities of the higher self is what the soul is comprised of. So therefore, you will only have limited library system. It'll be accumulative. Oh yeah, you could say, well, who was I in a past life? Well, now what you're beginning to think is, who am I in these current life streams running around me? So we got a lot of rings of light running around us, and embedded in those rings of light are what the soul is experiencing. The soul is collecting data for us, information for us, all about us. And a lot of that is going on. And it is up to us to keep those files as clean as possible. And what do I mean by that? Well, look at all the impressions that are in the world around us now. News media, you can't stop picking up your phone. Oh, you happen to view something one or two times on your cell phone, which is tethered to your laptop, your iPad, your notebook, your desktop, and now you're seeing it on there. And you go like, I don't remember looking this stuff up. No, but you were doing some research and it got pulled in. That's the same like if you noticed, if you're on have an account on Instagram, whether it's a professional account or just a personal account, just because you're interacting, viewing some things that someone may have sent you, now all of a sudden it says, "Oh, Threads has this person's name from your contact list." That you didn't even think about wanting to communicate with. Now all of a sudden that person can follow you. Can you imagine there's a whole bunch of people that are following you that you don't even know? You never met them before. You met them through Facebook, or maybe not. Why? Because now people are attaching themselves to you and hiding at the same time. It kind of makes me remember I got an email earlier today. Actually, I got it yesterday. And this particular person who's writing me this email says, "Oh, guess what? Your circle of grace 1.com is now available for you to purchase as a domain name." And I had to go in the email and explain to the person how that got to be that way. And why should I consider buying something that's connected to me in the first place, that I came up with in the first place, and that I use that name in different ways? I might capitalize the O of the of. I may not. I may put an underscore between the letter E in grace with the number one. But I had to explain to that person, maybe you have bought it and trying to sell it to me, and it's mine in the first place. A lot of this nonsense is going on. People wanting to make money off of you. It's a phrase that my late uh, siblings to my mother would say. You know, a criminal can come and steal your eyeballs and then sell them back to you. This is happening all the time. Your information about yourself, people want to sell it back to you, but it's you. And this is why at some point, you know what's going to happen? Many of us are not going to be on a computer after a while. We're not going to be having a notebook or a handheld iPad or whatever, because it's getting to be too much. You can't keep anything to yourself. You can't share what you want to share with other people without other people trying to capitalize on you and your stuff. And I tell you, if that should happen, it won't be bad for you because it won't matter. All that will matter is your divine presence, known as your I am, your divine I am presence. So here's the other part, because I don't want to keep you on too long, because I have to also record this over to my Circle of Grace One Facebook channel. So the higher self is the divine blueprint and has direct connection to the divine I am presence that is in all of us. And here's the unique thing about that statement: we are living a life, an infinite life, in the heart and mindset of divine providence, divine source. And divine source is living through us. So what's happening is, just like the soul is an extension of us, the higher self, us as the higher self is an extension of divine source, the divine source. At some point, it is definitely ineffable. It is infinite, so infinite that no matter what name you call the divine source, it's never enough. And it shouldn't be because it is infinite. And we are part of that infinite source. And just here on earth is what? Billions of people on earth, trillions of people on earth that are a part of that. That's not counting all the beings that are on other planets within the Milky Way and then within the other constellations. It's mind-boggling. But yet there are people constantly trying to take your data and sell it back to yourself in hope that you don't awaken to the fact that you're buying your own idea and thought back. It's just like those of us in the melanated world, we will realize that not only are we these higher selves on earth, not only are we a part of the divine plan on a much bigger level, we will understand that we are the Anunnakis walking around here. We just don't choose to awaken so quickly, but we're here. There are many of us living in the earth, traveling amongst all seven continents through various streams. We begin to awaken to a much higher plateau of understanding who we are. So, no matter what we see in the news, we can actually manipulate it so that it no longer affects us nor our loved ones, our family members, because they are a part of us. And that's what's going on right now. So, this is why I am a meditation teacher, because I want everyone to study meditation, not just underneath me or underneath other people, but for yourself, because within yourself, there's a remembrance of all that we see going on around us. And then you will begin to listen, not to the aspect of the library known as your soul. You will listen to your higher self, the God within you, the goddess energy within you. You will begin to listen to that, and then you'll see everything unfold, and you'll be able to see the life streams running around you, and you'll be able to pick the right ones for you that become your stepping stones. And there are what is known as a gap between the inhalation and the exhalation. That is the doorway that takes you into the other realms of consciousness, higher consciousness. So, before I sign off, the higher self is what? The divine blueprint and direct connection to the divine I am presence in all of us. It directs the dynamic flow of the soul and remains as the reflection of the divine I am presence, aka God within you. As it does what? It continues and maintains an infinite spirit life, infinite intelligence, infinite higher consciousness of all infinite degrees of light. And that was grace is infinite degrees of light. Grace as divine grace is who you are. That's how you are living here. That's how you are expressing who you are here. That's how you are doing more than just surviving here. All we have to do is develop ourselves continuously and enough so that what we can design a higher frequency for ourselves. Do you know all online, and you might look it up. You might find them through Instagram. You might find them through YouTube. There are young people who have worked for the past 10 years on themselves or 15 years on themselves, and they now have a certain amount of control over thermodynamics, as I said with the chi. They could put something on fire. They could cut themselves and put so much energy through their skin of their chi that they can wipe it away with a towel and there's no trace of a cut in the body. That means they can speed up the cellular memory within the body. They can cause it to rain or windstorms because they've reached that level with themselves. There are many things going on in the world designed to sidetrack you from your superhuman superhero status that will begin to rise up shortly inside of yourself. But the pioneers, the trailblazers, like these young people, are already out there doing it. I'm quite sure the next thing they're going to run across is invisibility. But all these things we have. Things come to us at a later time because they're supposed to. It's almost like if something, like you might say, well, how come I haven't hit the number to buy a big old mansion? Well, that's because maybe the universe through you knows you got certain people hanging around you because they're sniffing that out and they want to be in that glorious spot with you, but they're not going to assist you in maintaining. They just want to ride the bandwagon with you. And then they give up on you. And that's okay if they give up on you because they're not supposed to be around you anyway at a certain point in your life and their life as well. You're not supposed to be around in their life. Why? Because you become a hindrance to them and a hindrance to yourself. This is why soul contracts come and go. People say, I want to find my soulmate. Well, your soulmate is in your life temporarily. You might have some people are fortunate to meet up with an aspect of their higher self that says it is all right for us to be twin mates rather than soulmates. It is all right for us to not even be aware of the twin mate soulmate energy, but we're in the matrix together. We don't have to sign a contract that we gotta be married. Just live in the same region or live in the same household with each other and still cause each other to manifest on a much higher level on a much greater frequency. That's what's going on. A lot of these things that we see are going on in the world are designed to cut you off from that opportunity. So I'm not a master at what I do, but I do have information. And this information I'm beginning to communicate with on a daily basis. So I'm going to sign off right here. But all you got to do is wait for me to pop up on Circle of Grace 1 YouTube channel. Why? Because I'm going to continue it there and I go a little longer there than I can here. Okay, so this is Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I am the host and podcast creator of Clear Blue Radiance. I'm usually here trying to get here live. This is podcast number 236. Excuse me. This is podcast number 236. So I've been doing this for like 4.5 years. Those of you that are watching me here right now, give me about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then join me on my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/@ Circle of Grace with the number 1 at the end. And I will continue this process. 236 or 235. Yeah, when I get over there, it's 236. So I'm going to go there shortly. I'm going to sign out here. I wanted to get the introduction level. And when I'm on Circle of Grace 1, if you have anything that you want to ask, I can answer that for you, whether it's about numerology, whether it's about dreams. But I will say before I sign out here that I am doing an 8-week online course. It appears to look like 9, but it's only 8. and it is meeting your higher self, and it's going to commence on Wednesday, March the 25th. And I already have a YouTube devotion to it, announcement to it already on my Circle of Grace One channel. But if you want more information about the course, you're already my spiritual family. Rose is, and Holly is. Holly's my spiritual brother son. So we're going to be able to take that course for a flat rate. Okay. And then starting on June the 3rd, there's a whole 8-week online course, also, which is a Wednesday night, devoted to my creative pathwork meditation series, which I'm going to go into the 5 flames as 5 lights that I use to do this type of work. So I'm going to sign off right now. Give me about 5 minutes, clear my throat, and join me on my YouTube channel, which is Circle of Grace One. Okay, see you right there. In the meantime, boom, I'm gone. Thank you for joining me. See me at Circle Grace One on YouTube.